signing begin?
Right? We're not. They are, you know. I'm gonna call them rebels.
Hi, Sophia. Having a whole week tomorrow.
Are you reading what I'm writing?
Yes. I love it.
Oh, really? Oh, right? I know. Oh, it's alive. Sensei, hi.
Say hi.
Hi. This is live, buddy. Thanks for
Hi.
being here. Right?
Just want to say so.
I'm Chef Reyna
Okay.
Duong of Sandwich Hag and Jim Lun Cafe Shop, and this is the very first book signing that I am having ever between the two books. So it's Rebel Girls, which is all about women and young girl empowerment, and I was featured in 100 Immigrant Women Changing the World back in 2019. COVID happened, so we couldn't do anything with book signing. Thank you, Leslie. And then with this one, Dear Rebel, this is for the book signing today, I am a contributor. So I wrote a letter. It's called Dear Rebel. So I wrote a letter to all the young girls and women out there. And what's really cool is Rebel Girls, they translate it into 26 different languages all over the world. And almost every book that they put out is a New York Times bestseller. So this is a huge deal. It's been a long time coming, and I'm just happy that the day is here where we can actually connect with the community and one-on-one and some FaceTime.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I like that, especially the language part of it.
Yeah, 26 different languages. It's just really cool, right?
Yes. How many do you know?
3.
3. Which one?
Well, Vietnamese, English, a little Spanish. Actually, 4 because I do know a little sign language thanks to my brother.
Okay.
So yeah, we're multilingual here.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm working on Portuguese, Thai, Spanish,
Okay.
Igbo, Swahili, and a little Mandarin.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
That's
you-
very cool. I like that. Hey,
What's
Mike.
up? We're live right now with Donna here at the Doc Books. Say hi.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, it's all right. So what you got going on out here today?
We're doing a book signing for Dear Rebel
Okay.
with Reyna Duong. Come on out to the Sandwich Hag.
I love Chef Ray. Come forward, Chef Ray. Thank you. I mean, she could have selected so many bookstores in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and she chose the Doc Bookshop. And there's a reason for that, because we're both, women, of color, trying to make it. She's doing it. all the things. I'm trying to be like you, okay? No, this is beautiful. So I have a new mentor. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this. So thank you for choosing us. I mean, because she could have went anywhere, but she chose the Doc Bookshop, and we are truly honored to be here, to be a part of your signing. And this is huge, okay? Dear Rebel, I mean, the whole Rebel Girls series is huge, okay? I don't know if anyone realized that, but to be a part of this series, this whole franchise is a big deal. And so I'm just, again, just excited to be here, and I look forward to your story. We have several people that's going live, and I want to make sure 720 is ready, because this is Dr. Show. Okay, I didn't mean to call you out, I just want to make sure you're ready. Okay, all right, so I'm going to pass the mic. Okay, well, again, we're the Dot Bookshop. We're an indie bookstore. We're in Fort Worth. Been around for about 15 years. It's actually my sister and I kind of run the bookstore. And it's a labor of love for us. But we love doing what we do. We're all about books, community, and culture. And so, you know, we love doing what we do. And so, yeah, so if you're ever in the Fort Worth area, stop by and check us out. You also check us out online at thedotbookshop.com. We've got an online store as well. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thanks for being here. I forgot to let everyone know that I had planned on speaking like around 10 this morning, so everyone was kind of like trickling in and leaving. So I'm glad y'all are here, because then, you know, I'm not just speaking to myself, which is okay too, because I do a lot of self-talking all the time anyway, so it's nothing new. But my name is Reyna Duong. I am the chef and owner to Sandwich Hack, as well as Chimman Cafe Shop, and Rebel Girls, and thank you, Donna, for being here, by the way. I actually purchased my copy of Rebel Girls, 100 Immigrant Women Changing the World, from Donna a few years ago. She wasn't aware of that at the time. She didn't know. But I'm a big supporter of not just indie, but local and small. But the main thing is, you can't just be small, you also have to be small and good people, you know, and so that's my rule of thumb. I know there's some kids here, but my rule is like, you can't be a jerk. If you want to like partner with me in any way, if you see the sign up there, it's a different word for jerk. But that's my role in regards to everything that I do. But the story with Rebel Girls began pre-COVID, where they reached out back in 2019 and informed me that they were featuring me in their Good Night Story series. And at the time, this was their third one, I believe. And it's called 100 Immigrant Women Changing the World. And I'm not gonna lie, when I got that email, I thought it was spam, and so I didn't really read it. And one night, you know, Arch, my partner, and I, we left just to go get something to eat, and I decided to just open it up. And then when I kept scrolling, I realized it was real. And then when I opened up the PDFs that they had sent me to show me the previous women that they featured in their previous books, I just started crying, because it was just, I'm crying now thinking about it, but it was just unreal to be who you are without compromise, do business the way that you want in an industry that is very white male dominant, the restaurant industry, but to be able to not just live life authentically, but do business authentically. And open up a place of business, so that my brother's saying he has Down syndrome. I always say that's his diagnosis, not his identity. But opening Sandwich Hack to give him a place to call his own. And if y'all know me, that means you know saying. And you know I also call him Salty Sugar, because he's very sassy. But they featured me based on the story of how I opened up Sandwich Hack to amplify, support the Down syndrome community and people of not just all abilities, but disabilities. we tend to move away from that word because it can be, for the majority of society, that's a negative, but we can change any negative perspective based on how we deliver it, right? So when saying is in the kitchen, it's not just for saying to learn about the skills and different abilities that you learn by being in a kitchen. And if anybody's ever worked in a kitchen, you know how hard it is. But it's also for the coworkers to be exposed to someone with Down syndrome. And then on top of that, it's for the community to be exposed to someone with Down syndrome. Because what I've learned is it's not that we as a society don't want to get to know someone. It's more of how do we get to know that person with a disability without making their family members feel uncomfortable or whatever the reason may be. But yeah, so that was back in 2019. And then, as we all know, COVID took place, so I couldn't really do any book signings. But y'all came through, though. You got your books, and so I was really grateful for that. And then fast forward to 2 years after that, which was last year, Rebel Girls reached out again, and this time asked if I would like to be a contributor to their next big book, which is, called Dear Rebel, which is why we're all here today. And so with that, it's letters that, how many women? More than 125 women writing letters and sharing their secrets on how to take on the world. And the really great thing also about Rebel Girls is that globally it's translated into 26 different languages. And also they're donating 10% of their proceeds to Room to Read, and that's actually the main reason why I said yes, to be honest with you. But I wanted to read a little excerpt from, I'm just going to set this down right now. So you have the book, which y'all do. This is what my letter looks like. And honestly, when they asked me for the picture, I was like, okay, well, this is the most recent. Here you go. And they said they actually love it. I was like, great, because I don't have many. But they ended up using the one that, coincidentally, I'm wearing. The shirt is Tabitha Brown. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with Tabitha Brown, but she's incredible. Black-owned business, and amongst other things that she does. And then the hat that I'm wearing is Mary Lowe, which is a local designer. AAPI owned. She's incredible. She was at our last market as well. And actually, the pants I have on is hers too. So if y'all think what I have on is cute, Mary Lowe, she's local. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit from this. And in true restaurant owner form, I didn't have time to decide which part I'm going to read. So you're seeing it in like real time right now, what I'm going to read to y'all. So this letter is about the power of no. And as young girls, we start out from a very early age of saying yes to everyone but us, right? Yes, so that everybody else in the room is comfortable, and we hide our discomfort if we don't want to do something. And so I wrote about the power of no. So at the beginning, dear Rebel, there's so much I want to share with you. The truth is, I don't know where to start. So let's talk about 2 words that will follow you through life. No and yes. I'm going to fast forward though. I went into 2020 vowing to exercise the power of no. This ultimately made room for all the full-bodied yeses, the opportunities I was really excited about that were waiting for me. So don't be afraid to say no. Say no to your conditioned guilt. Say no to apologizing when you didn't do anything wrong. That's the big one. Say no to putting yourself last. Say no to worrying about who your competition is. So I want to just talk about that a little bit more. I'm really big on community. It's not just a hashtag, it's just how I do business. We started out as pop-ups. But before we even did pop-ups, we were doing, I say we, it was me saying, and then my partner Arthur, he just ran back into the kitchen. He just knew I was about to mention his name. But we would look up to see who were small business owners that were not just doing their thing, but also building community on top of that. And then we would make banh mi sandwiches and drop them off to them, even without knowing who they were in person, just to say thank you. Because when you're in this industry, it honestly is like a thankless job. And so that's how we started. And so when I say no to worrying about who your competition is, listen, there's enough to go around, you know, and when you think about community, there's strength in numbers, right? And that's why a few times a year we have these markets here, and I would invite, you know, even other Vietnamese vendors to sell Vietnamese cuisine or whatever it is that they want to sell that day, because the competition mentality is also the scarcity mentality. And when, right? and we're also taught that. We're also taught to compete, especially if you come from an immigrant family, because you're just trying to survive. And in your mind, there's not enough to go around. But I do hope that I've been a witness for the last, I think, 8+ years now, that you don't have to compete. You know, you can embrace each other, support each other, amplify one another, and then grow together, right? And so that's a really big one for me. Say no to not taking credit for your work. This happens all the time, right? So whether you're in corporate America, whether you're in you're a singer, you're an artist, you're a chef, whatever it may be, you're an accountant, you know, when you're putting so much heart and soul into your craft. As young girls, again, we were taught, like, just be seen but not heard. And you should just be grateful, right? So what if it's your work and it, you know, somebody took credit for it? Well, guess what? So what? What do you mean, right? It's my work. So never be afraid to take credit for your work. It's yours, you own it, and get paid for it, okay? So no, say no to giving others credit for your work. That goes hand in hand, right? And I think it's important to recognize that, yes, as a community, we always want to amplify, we want to support one another, especially within the sisterhood, right? But at the same time, you can do both. You can take credit for your own work, right? And then also support somebody else by giving them credit for their work, right? And as you get older and have to work to pay bills, yeah, it's coming, you two. Say no to working for free, okay? And you're going to experience so much of that. And it could be, hey, I have a promotion for you, but not a raise. And it ain't a promotion unless there's a raise, okay? Or, hey, so-and-so just left, I need to pick up the slack, but there's no money involved, right? So just little examples like that, but they're actually really big examples. In the restaurant industry, this has been something that I have actively worked on towards dismantling. You know, last summer, I exposed a lot of big organizations that were exploiting small businesses, but chefs in particular, to do events for free. So when you go to these events that you pay a ticket for example, most of the time, we don't get paid. So the tickets could be $100, it could be $1,000, whatever it may be. Everything that is there, that was brought there by the restaurant or chef, most of the time, it's completely for free. But I always say, when it sounds too good to be true, it is, because you may think it's free, but somebody's paying for it, and it's usually us, right? And so with that, if you're starting out a business, whether again it's like art, Volta's here, Color Snack. We've had extensive conversations about this, but your skills that you've honed over the years to make it look so easy that you can do it in your sleep, there's monetary value to that, right? And it takes a long time to make it look easy. So with that, utilize the power of no, because there's so many productive, healthy, loving yeses that's just waiting for you to see it. And that's it. I mean, there's more, but I think that's all I have for now. Do we have some time for like some Q&A? Yeah? Okay. Does anybody have any questions about anything? There's no pressure. I know like public speaking is like the #1 fear, so if you want to text it, Leslie has my phone, that's fine too. But thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. It's been a long time coming, and I'm not gonna lie. I had some friends ask me if I was excited, and I was, and I am. But it was also kind of scary because, believe it or not, I'm used to hiding behind my kitchen, behind saying, behind community, and it's just very typical of a talented, powerful, strong woman to feel more comfortable speaking about others and giving everyone else credit, right? And so this is also my way of taking my own advice, right? And being completely uncomfortable while I get comfortable with being like, the center of attention and not even hiding behind this table. So although the book is on my lap, so it's a little bit of like a support pillow for me, but yeah, thank you for being here. I appreciate everyone that continues to show up, not just for me, but for our literal family that's in the kitchen. If y'all know Leslie Boss, she's my sister, and she's also a teacher assistant, by the way. I say it all the time, like we don't pay them enough, but I don't know how much longer my physical body wants to keep torturing myself with owning a restaurant and keep going and being an active owner, meaning I'm here like basically every day. But for as long as I am here, I want to be able to say, and every time I lay down my head to my pillow, I want to be able to be proud of who I am and what I've built and the community of friends that I have been blessed and so grateful to surround myself with. So thank you, everyone. Yes, Mama. Okay, let me think. There was, at the time, her name is Mikey Wu. She was based out of New York in 2019. Her sister lived in Houston and came across the Bon Appetit profile that was written about me in 2019 when Dallas finally got recognized and was awarded Restaurant City of the Year. Yeah, and so I was one of 2 chefs that I guess received a profile, amongst like all the amazing, wonderful, restaurants and chefs. And so her sister in Houston came across that, and with that, called her sister Mikey, and she turns out to be Vietnamese as well. And so Mikey told Rebel Girls, like, hey, we need to look into, Chef Ray some more. And long story short, after they did their research, they reached out to me and asked, if I was comfortable being featured in 100 immigrant women changing the world. And since then, because they have continued to do good, like that's also my rule of thumb, like I kind of keep an eye on them, like, okay, is it virtue signaling? Is this real? Is it performative? All these things, especially during COVID.
but I learned that the last few years of just maintaining a working relationship with them, that they're legit and they're good people. Yeah, but that's how it came to be. Yeah, and even to go further, Bon Appetit came to be because Priya is the writer at the time. She grew up here, and her family still, I believe, lives in Plano, and she's out in New York. And she heard about me because, I know, try to remember this, because Dana Cowan, which used to be the Food and Wine editor-in-chief for 21 years, reached out to me when she was in town, and I honestly didn't know her name or what she looked like. She just looked familiar because she was the person that cultivated the relationship with Food and Wine and Top Chef from Bravo. And so she cultivated all of that, and so she's nonstop scouting the country and the globe to see who's out there that's not just making food, but is actually about, changing the industry and just the world if you can, But Priya learned about me because of Dana inviting me out to New York and doing her Speaking Broadly podcast. Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, we do good, and I don't do it for the accolades. I don't do it obviously for the money. Nobody goes into owning a restaurant for the money. There is no money. We're just here to survive. And but it's really great to be able to get recognized for just being true to who you are and not compromising that. It's really hard in this industry, and so I don't blame a lot of folks that are like that. Just look at owning a restaurant itself is hard, to add the layers of community and supporting other businesses on top of that, and fighting back against dismantling under white supremacy or the patriarch or misogyny. That is just a lot for most people, and I don't know what happened to me, I'll be honest with you, because sometimes I lay down, I'm like, what's wrong with you? And why not just make it easy, right? And so my gauge is that if something's happening locally or globally and it won't leave my brain, and I'm losing sleep over it, at least for 3 nights, that's my gauge where then I have to address it. And so that's part of trying to be self-aware. But no, a lot of times I'm like, what's wrong with you? Are you bored? I'm not bored, yeah. But yeah, so that's how it kind of come to be. Yeah.
I kind of wanted to see what advice you would have for folks who are looking to go out on their own. How would they engage and find folks like you or willing to support?
Go out on their own as far as a restaurant or just in general?
Anything in general, and finding other resources that can kind of mentor them and help them avoid some of the pitfalls they might otherwise get. Everybody's as important as you, but it is out there.
Yeah. If you're thinking of opening a restaurant, I will say it again, don't do it. Listen, food costs are crazy, staffing, difficult, and I'm lucky, honestly. Leslie, she works full time, and she'll message me every few months, and be like, Chef, are you hiring? I'm like, who's asking? Me, but I've been lucky, right? But to branch out and try to leave corporate America, I know they say the American dream is a house, a white picket fence, BS. And I'm trying really hard to watch what I say because these 2 young ladies are here. But I will say this real quick, tangent. There's worse things you can say than the F word, okay? Because what's more dangerous than the F word is the other F word, which is free. Right? So when you think about it, F-U-C-K is good in comparison to F-R-E-E. Right? So let me just say that. But if you are looking to branch out and you want to like find like a mentor, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very honest, you know, like mentorship is really hard when you hit somebody up and you don't know them and you're asking for their emotional and labor, you know, especially if they own a restaurant, right? And so what I would say is, if there's someone that you look up to, start by supporting their business. Do you even follow them on Instagram? That's free, right? So you can, but I don't suggest reaching out to people and being like, hi, you don't know me, but can you give me all of your heart and soul, right? It's more of, you know, build that relationship by supporting that person in more ways than one. And then if it's genuine, that person will know, right? Because if it's not, we also know, right? So you got to start by building relationships, and it has to be genuine and authentic, because all partnerships have to be mutually beneficial. In work, in life, I don't care what anybody says, you can be the best, nicest person in the world. Even the nicest person gets sick and tired of being taken for granted, you know? And so with that, you know, it has to be mutually beneficial. I mean, and it doesn't, not necessarily about money unless it's like work, that's different. But like even in life, like if I love on you so much and I give my all to you because I care about you, but I'm not getting it back, I'm going somewhere else. You know, it may not be today, but it's going to happen, you know? So you have to be able to build that relationship, and it has to be genuine. And you also have to know that you may not get anything back out of it, because you're also not entitled to it, you know? So that's my advice. Build the relationship, but you have to be genuine. And if a friendship comes out of it, then there's natural conversations that you have over lunch when you become friends, right? You know, and that's where you can start talking about like, hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing, what do you think, right? But it has to be authentic and genuine. It can't just be like, I'm going to pretend to be your friend so that you can give me free advice, you know? Because we always know. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Christina.
What were you like as a kid?
Oh. You know, I call Sang's nickname is Sugar Sang. My personal nickname for Sang is Salty Sugar. And Art has told me, where do you think he gets that from? You know, and he says we're twins because like we're brother and sister on this garden, I'm his caretaker, but we're still brother and sister, and we bicker like that too. And so sometimes he'll close and slam his door. He's like, I hate you, you know, and I'm like, well, I hate you too. And he'll sit down, I'll look at Art, I'm like, I don't know why he's like this. And he's like, he's just like you know, and I'm like, just mind your business, you know? I'm one of 12 kids. So I'm number 11. I'm the youngest girl in the family, and Sang is number 12. He's the youngest boy, and the nickname is like Upjai, Upgai. Up means the baby in the family, Jai is boy, and Gai is girl, so I'm Upgai, he's Upjai. And I was always really protective of Sam, and even though we're only 3 years apart, I just knew that I would be his caretaker one day, and I was also protective of my mom. My dad spoiled me till no end, but was always frustrated with me because as a kid, at the time I didn't realize what it was that I was doing. I was just living in the action of the moment. But even when I was 5 years old, I recognized the little rights and wrongs in protecting my brother Sang and my mom. My dad was verbally abusive, physically abusive to the both of them, and so I would always either jump in front of Sang and yell at my dad. And I've never yelled at like my mom, but I always believed in you could be so good to me, but if you're not good to the people that I also love and care about, or the immediate surrounding, then being good to just me is never good enough. You know, and I look back now and I recognize I've always been wired that way, but I was a typical kid that wanted to be outside, climb trees. I still look at a tree and I'm like, that's a good branch. That's a good climbing branch right there. And honestly, like, I played with dirt, I ate dirt, you know? And I never wanted to be in the kitchen. My mom wanted me to learn how to cook and clean because she said, that's how you're gonna get a man. And I said, I ain't gonna get a man that wants me to cook for him, you know? And so I rebelled against what my mom thought I should be. And, but recognizing that, and at the time, you know, my being young and dumb and immature was like, gosh, when I grow up, I never want to be like my mom because, like, why is she still a dad, you know? I was 5 years old, and I remember after they had a fight and her crying, like, in a dark room, and I went in there, and I'm like, Mom, we can leave Dad, like, right now. Like, right now. Like, he's sleeping, we can go. And she was like, well, what are we going to do for money? And I said, I'll get a job, you know, and saying we'll work there too. I don't know what it is. And it stopped her from crying, and she started laughing. And at that time, I didn't recognize what she was laughing about because I was dead serious, you know. I was like, I can get a job, you know. And so these little moments that pop up when I get those type of questions, it makes me realize that you are who you are from a very young age to even as into adulthood. The difference in regards to how you mold yourself is based on life experiences, you know? And no matter what has happened in my life over the years, I recognize that who I am is my core and how I'm wired. And that's when I talk about my gauge, you know, me trying to be self-aware. But honestly, it helps with, you know, going to therapy too. I see a therapist, you know, it's been a few years. Seeing a therapist was what gave me the confidence to say yes to Dana Cowan for the podcast and to share my story in that way, and being very transparent about things that, you know, took place in my childhood, where we would share and have to say trigger warning, you know. But I won't ever regret the things that I've done, and I try not to beat myself up for things that I'm not proud of, and I just try to learn from it. If there's anyone that I have hurt, I would reach out, you know, and that's with therapy, and apologize without making excuses. You know, I think it's ownership, you know. So as a kid, I didn't know too much about ownership. I was just surviving in that household. But as an adult with therapy and, you know, like loved ones and just being self-aware and education is ownership, you know. And with ownership, you also disown a lot of BS too. You know, so once you own like who you are and what you can and won't stand for and what you accept, you know what I mean, it comes with disownership too. And that's also what makes people uncomfortable, especially people that know and love you from a very young age, you know. And it's not that they don't want you to change, they just don't want to be left behind, you know. So I hope that answers your question. You're tearing up, so I'm like trying not to like swell up also, and I'm like getting choked up, you know. I'm just watching you, and I'm just like, yes. Oh, thank you. he was asking what I think the 3 major core values it takes to become a rebel girl. And I'll be honest with you, like, women, we're so powerful that I can't trickle it down to just 3. But I'll do my very best in regards to the 3 that come to mind. The very first one is being authentic to who you are. From the moment we pop out and take our first breath of oxygen, we are told to look a certain way, to speak a certain way, to move a certain way, and it's really difficult to move through life, no matter what age you are, to always second guess if you're good enough. And so my number one advice would be, it doesn't matter if somebody doesn't like you for having pink hair, for having short hair, for having beautiful heart ears. It doesn't matter if somebody doesn't like that about you. Still be you. Let them conform around you versus you trying to change who you are so that they can like you. Right? So be authentic to who you are. The second is you have to be self-aware. You know? Meaning if you move through life and you have an entitlement that everything is, you deserve everything, you're gonna get disappointed all the time. You know? And so just be self-aware. Even though I want this, it doesn't mean it's mine, right? And when it comes to any relationship, whether it's family-ship, friendship, workship, if we're not entitled to any of it. There's choices that we make. If we decide to have lunch with our friends, right? Recognizing that the friend could be, say, draining, right? But you make the choice to say yes instead of no, and then leave that lunch complaining about it, right? Well, how did we deserve a better interaction when we literally went into it knowing what was going to happen and doing it anyway, right? And honestly, I can't think of a third one right now. I'll see you again, so I'll let you know, but like I said, it's really hard to number top 3s, because this book is big, and it's all these beautiful letters that are powerful and shared experiences, and we're all so different and unique that my top 3 is not Leslie's top 3 or Christina's, or even yours, but the number one thing is just be who you are unapologetically. And stop saying sorry. Why are we sorry? So at a restaurant, if you go to a restaurant and you order something and they give you the wrong item, what's the first thing we always say? I'm so sorry, but I didn't know this, right? My team, the moment they step foot into this kitchen, the first thing they learn is to stop saying sorry. When I hear them say sorry, I correct it. That's the number one rule. But if we F up, then we'll apologize and make up for it, but we don't say sorry unless we did something wrong. But that's part of being not entitled and being self-aware, so yeah. You're welcome, thank you. Anyone else? Hey, Jasper. All right, y'all. Thank you for being here. And again, my bad for forgetting to communicate what time I was going to speak. So I'm going to be getting some messages after this once they see social media and be like, what just happened? Did you have a different event? So I will apologize for that. But I think we're good then. And then I'm going to go back to signing some more books. Donna, are you?
Well, one last thing. We got to do our picture.
Okay.
And then we're...
Donna said we need to do a group picture. Yeah, yeah.
Everybody wave.